I'm Jordan Gokenauer with the Alliance for the Chesapeake Bay, an organization that is working to bring together communities, companies, and conservationists to improve our lands and waterways. I'm here at the Lowell School with Beth Ginter, who's going to be showing us a new resource for identifying native plants. Beth.
Our Keystone program is called CVLP, or the Chesapeake Bay Landscape Professional Certification. And a lot of the work that we do is with professionals, helping them to understand what plants to put in their stormwater practices and other native gardens. As part of that program, we developed this resource, which is a guide to selecting and using native plants in bioretention and other stormwater practices like bioswales and conservation landscaping. So as we take our walk around today, we can use this resource to help us identify what we're seeing and also think about how we might select plants for other sites.
Exciting. Well, I've got some questions about native plants, so let's get started.
Great.
All right, Beth, so we've got two different types of beautyberry here. How do I tell the difference between the native type and the non-native?
That's a really great question, Jordan. I think these plants are really commonly confused. So this is the non-native, and this one is quite a bit different from the one you're standing beside. As you can see, if you were expecting this and you got that, you might be surprised. This one is the non-native. It's quite a bit smaller. It's got a smaller leaf. And the real distinguishing feature, I think, is the way that the berries are situated on the branches. They really go all the way around the stem, I think. So if you even pick up that stem, are they on the back side as well? Yeah,
they're really close to it and they don't really hang off as much as the non-native do.
And then this guy is the non-native, and you can see like they're really only on the one side of the stem, those fruits. When we look at the back side, you can see that they're really just coming off that one side. The non-native, you can see that the berries here are actually hanging down from the stem. And on the native, I don't know if you can show us what those look like, but on the native beautyberry, the berries are really laying right in clusters, just right upon the main branch. So I think that's probably the best way to identify them. And this is a really useful guide that you can use just to see if you're looking for the native. Do the berries look like this? Are they on the stem just like this? Or are they hanging down more like a little present? I also think that the color is a bit different. So in the native, it's more of almost like a magenta, whereas here, it's just a true purple on the non-native.
Cool. And what else do we have on that card for the beautyberry? Yeah,
so the cards are really useful and most specifically designed for selecting plants for bioretention and other vegetated stormwater practices.
So this is milkweed, but this isn't the common type you see growing along the side of the road.
That's right.
What is this?
So this is called butterfly weed is the common name. It's Asclepias tuberosa. And it's great because this is how big it gets. So for a lot of backyard gardens, you don't want the 8-foot tall milkweed. It's going to take over a small garden and pretty quickly. But this is a great joy. And it has these pretty orange flowers. You can see here what they should look like. It's just a magnet for pollinators. Bees and butterflies love this. It's a host plant for the monarch butterflies. Yeah, so you can see from this photograph there's a bee on this flower. Birds, butterflies, moths, and bees really like this plant. And it will take some standing water, and it will also tolerate salt. So that's makes it really versatile and can be used in different types of water, soil moisture, and sun conditions. And it stays pretty tidy. It's about 1.5 feet tall, usually is the maximum height. And then on the other side of the card, you can see what those seed pods are going to look like when they open. So if you leave them alone, they're going to open up and look like this. And each seed is attached to a little fluff, and they just fly away in the wind. And seed about in the garden. So it's a nice plant from that perspective because it does make itself at home.
So where in your garden should I place this?
So you could put it in a spot like this where you've got full sun and kind of dry soil, but it also, you can put it in your rain garden. So you could put it in the bottom, on the slope, or up on the berm. The other thing that we can learn from this card is that this plant is also salt tolerant. So it might be great for a stormwater practice that's really close to a road or a driveway where you might have runoff from that paved surface. Sometimes those roads get treated with salt, so it's nice for that. You could also use it in a shoreline practice. If you've got brackish water, it will tolerate some intermittent flooding from that.
Well, these are cool. They've got a nice, beautiful red berry. What have we got here?
So this is Winterberry. This is Ilex verticillata. This is a great wildlife shrub. The birds love this fruit, and often it will persist through the winter. It's actually a deciduous holly, so it does lose its leaves in the winter, but that leaves just the fruit on the stems, and it's really spectacular, especially if you get a nice snowy day. Just a really great winter interest plant and great for the birds. Ilex verticillata comes in a lot of different cultivars, so this is probably something like Red Sprite. You can see it's pretty compact. You can get them up to 12 feet tall, so choose wisely about which cultivar you're choosing. You do need a male pollinator for this plant, so usually you can have one male for every 6 to 10 females will be enough. I think this is a great substitute for something like Nandina or heavenly bamboo, as it's called. That's highly invasive plant that you find in a lot of landscapes, and this is a great replacement for that. So this is a pretty versatile shrub. I mentioned that it comes in a lot of different sizes, which makes it nice. So you can use it here in a pretty low setting where you need to have a sight line, or you could have a bigger one to fill up some space. It also will take a lot of water. So it's a great plant. You often see it in rain gardens. It loves that really wet, watery environment. And it does have some tolerance for drought as well, which is also very useful for a rain garden with that sandy soil. So as with some of the other plant cards, this just gives you a couple of different photographs so that you can help to identify this plant. When it doesn't have the red berries, you might see these tiny little white flowers in the spring. And this is what it looks like in the winter. So you're not going to miss this ID in the middle of winter. If the birds haven't already eaten all the fruit, you're going to know that it's a Winterberry. So there's about 45 different plants in this set. Again, they're the best plants recommended by experts for stormwater practices. So a lot of them, as we have seen, are resilient and can take some drought as well as standing water. That makes them really good candidates for a lot of places. So the set is organized into categories by different types of plants. So it starts out with grasses, and then we have a section of shrubs and trees and perennials. And there's also a few ferns in there. So hopefully it's a really easy to use set. We made it look like this in case we decide to add some more plants, because you never know when you might need more plants. The pages are laminated, so you can throw it in your truck if you're a landscape professional and you want to keep this on hand. It also will not melt if you leave it out in the rain. So.
And all the plants in there are native to the Chesapeake Bay?
They are. So not all the plants are native to every corner of the Bay region, but what we focused on was the area from central Pennsylvania down through central Virginia and toward the Hampton Roads area. So we cut out a big section of the Bay and found the best natives.
So where can people find out more about you, and where can they order those cards?
Yeah, so if you're a landscape professional and you want to get trained or certified, come to one of our workshops. You'll find all of that information about our programming on our website. You can also order these cards through the website, and that's CVLPRO.org.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today for this episode of Native Plant Narratives. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section, and we'll see you next time.